Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to our science lesson for today. Let's share our I can statement. I can recognize features of the day and night sky. So that's what we're going to be learning how to do today. We're going to be talking about the moon today. So I get to share a fun read aloud with you and we get to do an activity with it. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
Listen very quietly to a story. I love listening to stories, don't you? I'm Mimi, and I tell stories. The First Hippo on the Moon by David Williams, illustrated by the artistic genius Tony Ross. One enormously rich hippo, Hercules Waldorf Franklin III, paid for a gigantic hippo space center to be built to blast him there. Sheila didn't. Yes, the other hippopotamus's name was Sheila. One morning, she announced, "I want to be the first hippo on the moon." "But Sheila," said her giraffe friend, "you don't have a space rocket." "Then we'll make one, Keith," Sheila replied. Yes, the giraffe's name was Keith. "Us hippos like to dream big." Sheila's friends got to work, building her a rocket. "Quick, as you can." "Well, you could help me, dear." Tina, the elephant, brought back the biggest tree trunk she could find. Joyce, the gorilla, fetched the longest vine. And Derek, the ostrich, was given the task of gathering the pongiest mountain of rhinoceros dung. After many days and nights, the animals finally unveiled their space rocket. Well, something that looked a bit like a space rocket, a tiny bit. "Thank you, friends. It's my very own Hippo-Pock rocket." All they needed to do now was ignite the rhino dung and blast Sheila into space. But how? "Try rubbing these two spiky thingamybobs together to create a spark," instructed the hippopotamus. "Well, thank you very much, dear." "Okay, let's go," Sheila announced. "Is your bottom hot too?" "Boiling, dear." "Dream big, everyone. 3, 2, 1, blast!" But before Sheila could say off, it started raining. It rained and rained and rained. It was rainy season. It didn't stop raining for 5 long months. The moment the rain stopped, Sheila began her countdown again. 3, 2, 1, blast off! The Hippo-Po rocket shot into the sky. The hippopotamus watched as the earth became smaller and smaller, and the moon became bigger and bigger. But in deep space, disaster struck. Sheila was so busy munching on her shrub sandwiches that she didn't spot what was hurtling towards her. A giant asteroid. The Hippo-Po rocket smashed into hundreds of pieces, sending the shocked hippopotamus spinning wildly through space. She tumbled towards the moon. Boom! To her astonishment, Sheila had landed on top of the other hippopotamus, just as he was taking his first Hippo-Po step on the moon's surface. "I'm terribly sorry." "Excuse me? What on earth, the moon, are you doing here? I wanted to be the first hippopotamus on the moon. Well, you're not. I am Hercules Waldorf Franklin III. Remember that name, the name of the very first hippopotamus on the moon. Can't we both be the first hippopotamuses on the moon? No, just look at you. Call yourself a hippopostronaut. You don't even have a hippo spacesuit or a hippopo buggy. Get back in the hippopo rocket and buzz off now. With a tear in her eye, Sheila trudged off to the hippopo rocket. Her big dream had been crushed. As the engines roared, Hercules Waldorf III bounded towards it. Stop! That's my hippopo rocket. Oops, sorry. Blast off! Seconds later, Sheila realized she didn't have a clue how the hippopo rocket worked. Roar! Entering the Earth's atmosphere, the hippopo rocket soon began burning up. Within moments, the hippopotamus's bottom was blazing like the sun. Sheila hit the Earth with a giant wallop. She lay motionless on the ground, her bountiful behind sizzling like a sausage. Sheila, wake up! Tragic, dear. Oh, it's so sad, isn't it? But she wouldn't wake up. This was the saddest day the jungle had ever seen. Then out of the silence came a sound. The distinctive sound of a bottom burp. All the animals stared at each other. Who would dream of letting one go at such a sad time? Another one, longer and louder than the first. It was Sheila. What's that awful smell? Try and breathe through your mouth, dear. Oh, it's made my eyes water. The hippopo trump was so thunderous, she woke herself up. Now Sheila was famous all over the world as the very first hippopotamus on the moon. Dream big. She never mentioned the other hippopotamus who got there first. So whatever you do, please don't tell anyone. And that's Mimi and
Great job reading that story with me, listening to that story. I'm going to show you what you're going to do in Seesaw today. So we're going to draw a picture of what we would look like if we were an astronaut. Then we are going to write what we would do for fun. So let's double check that. Yep, we are going to use our pencil tool to draw a picture of what we would look like if we're an astronaut and use the pencil or text tool to write what you would do for fun on the moon. So I'm going to draw a picture of what I would look like if I were an astronaut. So I'm going to have an astronaut dress. And that was such a silly story. It was such a good story, though, wasn't it? And you can listen to that story again if you need to. So this would be me, and I'm going to draw myself. I'm going to draw a helmet for myself. This is what I would look like if I were on the moon. I'm going to give myself a star just like the hippo. And then I'm going to draw myself on the moon. I'm standing on the moon, and there are stars in the background. I'm in outer space. And what would I do for fun on the moon? Right here, I want you to use a complete sentence. I know you know how to use a capital letter and a period at the end. So I'm going to say, I would go on a run on the moon for fun. Let me put an exclamation mark because I'm really excited about that. I would bounce up and down because of the lack of gravity. Because there's not gravity on the moon where there is in Earth, just like we talked about in forces, right? When it falls towards the center of the Earth on the moon, it would feel a lot different, wouldn't it? I have a period at the end. I have a capital letter to start, and I wrote 2 sentences. I want you to tell me what you would do for fun on the moon. So great job doing your lesson with me today. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and turn back on my camera. I hope you have a great time today. All right. Bye, boys and girls.